Hey, how's it going? Wow, I can't believe how unbelievably difficult it has been to get started on this. I'm not even going to tell you. Well, I guess I am going to tell you. I spent the whole day devoted to being resting, just being as still as possible, not, I didn't go out and do any exercise because the injury that got me it was the bike again, or the tricycle. I'm in Walmart, which is smooth, like a gymnasium, which is where I think you're meant to be riding those things, rather than where I've been using them, because they're just not sturdily constructed for bumpy terrain and all of the motions that your body will make, like for me, as I'm trying to, stay over my center of gravity, and I'm just kind of constantly moving. So, because the street's not smooth like a gymnasium, it's amazingly rippled, but that's probably because the huge mixing trucks and tractor trailers go up and down the road outside of my complex, the apartment complex that I live in, every day. And I imagine when they laid that asphalt, which probably came from right up the road, by the way, which also has big trucks that go straight up and down my street. Anyway, when they put that stuff down and it was all soft and warm, like cookie dough, all those heavy things made all these. The street goes like this from curb to curb. It's like, here's the sidewalk, and then you go down to the curb, and it's like up to the street like this, and then there's like an area where the wheels, the two wheel sets are. So you got these two like runnels that are just sort of molded into the road, and the only place it's really smooth is where both sides of the road meet in the middle, where it's just like this sort of moundish tubular thing down the center of the road, but the rest of it's like all wavy. So you're doing a lot of this, and the wheels in that are fine. They're not even bothered by it, but my seat is just like all wavy, and it's not good. So I've been having to like adjust it constantly, like with the pedals lately. I didn't mention that, but it's a pain in the butt, literally. And I was shopping yesterday in Walmart, where it's smooth, by the way, relatively, but certainly more than like out on the street. It's closer to the gymnasium than not. And all of a sudden, and I was going slow because I was with my caregiver and we were shopping, and she was looking at something. So I'm just like creeping along, and I go slow in there anyway, because I don't want people to think that I'm going to suddenly start barreling down the aisles on my little tricycle thing, so I'm like wanting people to be reassured that I'm not going to go nuts. So she's like going slowly, looking at stuff on racks, and I'm just kind of like keeping up with her like this. And then all of a sudden, the seat just goes back, and I'm holding on tight to the bars because I was already holding on to them, but it felt like it was going to dump me on the floor, and I was like, yeah. And so we didn't stay very long after that, because I went from being all freshly showered and cute to all of a sudden red-faced and sweaty and like whining, like, can we go? That falling back like that, like I really felt like I was going to fall back and smack my head on the floor. So I was holding onto the bars, and what it did to my already inflamed shoulders was definitely tore some muscle right here. Like, there's no doubt in my mind. I don't, yeah, it's, and then the joint, I just saw the doctor on Wednesday about this, and he was so like nonchalant about my x-ray. He said, oh, looks like you've got some minor beginning stages arthritis. And I'm like, really? It feels like all around the joint there's little men with arc welding spoonerism with arc welding whatever I don't know what you call the thing where the fire comes out, but those just burning up all the way around the joint. And every time I move, it's like rubbing, and there's nothing smooth. It's like grrr. That's what it feels like. Yeah, it's not good. And I'm looking at this guy like mid-30s max, good shape. Of course, he's a doctor, and and then there's me. But I don't think he took into consideration that I'm at least twice his age, at least, and I have like a whole array of symptoms that led up to this. So I just felt like, ooh, don't be so smug, or you're going to be in pain yourself one day. It's probably really into cycling or something like that. And if you think well, actually, by the time that stuff happens to him, there'll be something to make it not hurt bad. But the point I'm trying to make is, I don't think he could feel my pain. I don't think he even understood. I don't know if it was this thing I've heard where the doctors think black people are just like impervious to pain, which is insane. I don't know why we have to tell people all the time, like, no, this actually really hurts. It is so tiresome. But anyway, I was just annoyed because I felt like he thought it was nothing, and I didn't know what they could do. All I knew was raising my arms, very painful. Having to get up and down, very painful. Getting in and out of the tub, I had to wait 2 days after I injured myself because I gotta lever myself in and out of the tub with these, so I would have done it sooner. I did shower, but it's not the same. But I just don't think that they take you seriously, and I don't know. I feel like it's serious. So that's how I spent my day. Finally did get in and out of the bath and was just feeling all good, smelling nice, and didn't move all of my stuff in there because of the shoulder situation, because it's chucking a lot of stuff back and forth, and I just don't want to. It hurts. I don't want to aggravate it. And so I'm in here and having to use my laptop, and the I don't know how to raise the illumination on the screen that I'm looking at. And it actually looks okay when I look at the playback, but I'm sure it's my vision, and I'm sure it's the light I have in here. I finally put a filter on that bright light, but of course I can't find the blue one. I think I broke that, but I'm sure I know it's around here somewhere, and I'm gonna scotch tape put that puppy on there, because the orange one makes it even darker than it is. And the whole reason I want this other light, I don't need to see all of this here. It's so I can illuminate the card for the viewer. So that was like the day. But I came in here to get started. The laptop was already in here. The light was already in here. The filter is very small, so the light is very small. But I just kept it simple, kept it easy, and it took. This is the fourth. Don't you dare go dark on me. This is the fourth take. And the other thing that was, I was trying to get the light right. The light wouldn't stay. So many times it fell. The sign fell. Everything was just I'm going to be a silly little mechanical gremlin issue, so you can't stop. You can't start. And it was chipping away at my calmitude. And I was like, no. So I finally get it to where I want it. And then I hear in the background. I was like, no, I can't make my voice as high as the cat. But all of a sudden I just hear this little, because he does it so low. I don't even know if he, I already trashed the other ones, but I don't even know if you could hear it. But long, like, I have fed him. I have played with him. He had a nap. The door was open. I did all of the things. And what do you think? I want food. I was like, really, dude? I know you saw it. I talked to myself. I know he knew that I was like frustrated trying to get started to do this. I know I said it. I know he understands. And what does he do? I have it perfect. I'm ready to go. He's like, ah! And so, okay, I feed him. Whatever. That requires some untangling, but not much. But I'm saying, I fed him, and then I thought, okay, good. Now I'm free. And he kept coming back. He did it like 5 more times. And finally I got frustrated. I was like, what? And I thought, okay, can't let that fly. And then I had to start over because then I felt like a dick. But I thought, I think he's okay because he's already back over there playing again. And then I thought, okay, good. Now he's probably got it out of his system. And then I start talking again, and I'm up to like 20 minutes, and all of a sudden he's over here. So I stop, and I talk to him, and I do whatever he wants. And I get started again, and I get like a sentence in, and like, I was like, he did that 3 more times. And I was like, oh my God, dude. Why don't you want me to do this? I could not. Usually when he stops me that many times, there's a reason, and I find it, and there wasn't one. And because he was so insistent, I feel like subsequently I will figure out what he was talking about. But I finally, I put him out and shut the door because I wanted to get this done. So, I pulled from the Shaman's Dream Oracle deck, what is this? Number 25, Venus's Garden. And as you can see, it's very lush, it's very beautiful. Like, who would not like to live there? And a couple of things that I noticed right off, like, I thought that this up here, the red, was a butterfly, because there's a lot of other stuff going on around it. It's sort of partially obscuring what it is. And then there's a hummingbird, which I believe is right here. Well, on the right side, yes. And the thing I noticed about the hummingbird that I thought was funny is if you look in its mouth, it looks like it has something in there. Either that or it's a very strange hummingbird that has little antenna like a slug or a giraffe. That's what it looks like to me. So, but it's like very whimsical, and for me that would be right at home in my garden. Like I would not find a hummingbird with slug giraffe antennas at all out of place. Like perfect, exactly perfect what I want in my garden. And so I pulled this early in the day before anything except for like, I think I meditated. And then the rest of the day, I told you, was spent relaxing and resting. So finally, now I'm rolling. Now I'm getting my timelines mixed up. Pull the card, do my meditation, come in, and part of what I was doing laying around was, looking at my YouTube stuff, and there was a couple of disturbing things that I saw. And one was that Ron DeSantis in Florida is going even more medieval on the people in his state. And there was a whole list of, I guess, laws that he signed. And what I noticed most about them was stop, ban, and no. So more restrictions. I did see them. I don't want to dwell on them. They're going to be in the news for the whole next week. So, but yeah, medieval. And I thought, dude, why are you doing that? You're basically setting your own people against each other. Do you want a civil war in your own state? Like, I don't understand his strategy. But I don't have to. And so the second thing that I saw was a news report, and there was a case a few years back, or a couple of years ago, where a lady who was called. See, this kind of thing. Can I just just sit there if you don't have the plug in? Are you done? So, she was an aspiring, this is how she characterized herself, aspiring web designer for wedding pages, whatever that is. And so I don't even know how this became a court case, but her thing was that she had this guy that approached her, Mike, who wanted to have her design a wedding page thing for him and his partner, or I guess the guy's name, whatever, it was two guys, and then she said, and his partner Mike. So I think it was like Stuart was the guy that contacted her, and he wanted this page for his partner, it's Mike, and his wedding. And so I don't really know, like I said, like how it went from there to becoming a court case, but she had religious reasons for refusing to, refusing service to this guy. And it became a lawsuit. And so there was a reporter from the New Republic that thought, okay, well, let me go talk to, like, somebody else that has to do with this. And she went looking for the Mike person. And she found him. And it's his real name. And she was able to find the guy because it was a public court filing. So she was able to get his personal information, including his phone number and his address, which is scary. Like, we should not make that so easily accessible, because even though she was a reporter, someone that has ill meaning, ill intent could do the same thing. And that is terrible. And especially if it has to do with a case. That seems like a bad loophole. It's like the hole in the Death Star. So, she gets talking to this guy, and she finds out she's the first reporter to contact him. And he's surprised because she's the first reporter to contact him. And I suppose, what I understand is that he at some point got legal representation for himself because his name was out in the news, and the guy is actually in reality straight, has a wife and kids, and is a professional web designer himself. And so it's weird that he would go looking to this not even established at all amateur person to do something allegedly so important, like a wedding. and I assume that's why I shouldn't assume. But I will link the news report, and then you can see what he said, and I won't have to you can ignore my assumptions. But anyway, so but his thing was like, she's carrying on this whole, like, legal proceeding, and there's a bunch of, like, perjurious information there, like, it's not real. And so it's gone through all these courts, like appeals courts, where they've been like, well, we're not finding the evidence of these people that you're talking about. Like, no one bothered to actually find the person, and she didn't present much of anything, obviously. So it went to the Supreme Court. The case went to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court ruled in her favor. like just ignoring all the precedent below. Like, don't even look at it and see what they had to say. And then what did you look at? You just said she's like she like brought the case to court, and so like where's Mike? Well, Mike doesn't exist, sort of. Like you got like sort of a dual reality of Mike's happening here. And I don't know about you, but what I see there, it was a 6-3 decision, which means the conservatives voted in favor of this woman not serving someone from the LGBT community, and like basically setting a precedent so that they can't be like they can't like go into certain stores. Are you going to make like gay only water fountains now, or trans only water fountains? Like, what are we doing here? And the thing is the woman has links to members of the court and or organizations that they're both members to, and it's just all so stinky and illegal, and it's just going on, it's going through, and nobody's like really objecting, and that is all of that is both unbelievable and completely believable. But I'm appalled. I gotta laugh though, because what are we doing? The court people, like, no one's doing their due diligence, and it seems like the Christians will lie and do anything to like not let the people just trying to live their lives do so in peace. Like medieval, biblical, like go completely backwards and take all of the progress away from everyone. It's weird. So I thought, oh, that's got like nothing to do with that card I pulled. That's weird. What is happening? And then later on, I watched a channeling of an angel message, which sort of put things in perspective, and I will link that as well. Because basically they were talking about us clearing our karma, and I feel like well, one thing that she says is there's a woman who channels the angel message. Her name is Cindy. And one thing she was saying about the clearing the karma is it can be something that from like a past life leftover, that's like a piece of a loose end that still has to get dealt with, and it feels like bad. It's uncomfortable, and it makes us feel all kinds of stuff, from nausea to other physical sensations to emotional upset and feeling out of control, and just sort of an onslaught of feelings, which I can testify to that I have been feeling. And then until I remembered, like, oh, all this stuff is going on, then I could look at it from a calmer place. So just like remembering, like, oh, all of this other stuff is happening besides just my own crap. So we may be aware that this karma is clearing through us, and we may be unaware of it, which would make us feel unstable and crazy if there was no seeming basis for, like, why am I feeling like this? So what my thought is that if it's sounds mainly that it's like an unconscious thing happening and a subconscious thing, then stuff like external stimuli, stuff like these court cases that I mentioned, and DeSantis and all those restrictive laws he's passed, it is that kind of stimulus, I feel, that is triggering to us, that sort of dislodges the kind of avalanche of karma that we gotta sort of dislodge and unstick from our consciousness to clear, and that also can feel not great. And I would think it's individual or unique to the individual how you're going to feel. So I can't really describe that for anyone else except for I would venture to say uncomfortable. So that made some sense about the karma. And then the other thing she said was when you clear it, you start to feel better. You start to feel lighter. And what's also happening while we're doing all of this karma clearing, because it's a collective thing, collective unconscious situation happening, is there are a lot of energies coming in through the atmosphere for us. And if we can sort of be calm enough, we can receive those energies, and they're very loving. And I'll tell you, I can testify to those too, because yesterday and today I would be like doing whatever, puttering around in here, and I would like roll through an area, and I wouldn't even make it all the way through it, because I would just be all feeling stuff like staticky feeling, and like a vibrating like in here and my legs, and stuff here happening like tingling. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna stop it like this. I'm gonna just sit here and enjoy this for a minute, and then just also smiling and just being all like when you look at animal videos, if you enjoy doing that and you think they're cute, which is why I watch them, it just makes me feel all huggy. Okay, I don't want to make anybody barf, but so she was saying there's a lot of loving energies coming in, and they are to help us, and there's energies also coming in to help us deal with clearing the karma. So I find that helpful. I mean, if you know and you actually believe in it, then it's incredibly helpful. And then I thought, oh, okay, well, that's why this makes sense, because Venus is all about love. And I mean, that's our associations with the word. I'm going to read the card, or read what the book had to say about the card. Garden of Venus, the place of all is well. Rest, renewal, self-acceptance. When the Garden of Venus appears, you are invited, actually summoned, to return to the Garden of Love. It is time to leave the field of battle. Put your sword away. Step through the gate into the garden of earthly delights. Bask in the joy of the wish-fulfilling trees and the scent of the healing flowers. You have returned home. You are weary, and it is time to rest deeply and be renewed. Go into this sacred garden alone, as there is no need for another to be present to experience its pleasures. Really, stop looking for the other. Enter by yourself. Allow your senses to intoxicate you. Leave all thought behind. Use your analytical mind and return to your body. In the Garden of Venus, there is a still pond that shows you your reflection when you stoop down to drink. Who is that staring back at you? Look at who you've become. Rinse your face and with these healing waters and practice deep acceptance. Love who you've turned into with all of your imperfections and blemishes. The goddess Venus holds a mirror that allows you to see yourself in all of your flawed beauty. I'm going to read that again. The goddess Venus holds a mirror that allows you to see yourself in all of your flawed beauty. Do not be caught in the spell. After a quick glance, take the mirror with you and return to the battlefield, that you may reveal to others who they are becoming, and then you will no longer have a use for your sword. Well, I certainly like that approach. You know, it seems really remote from the other things. I do have a couple of other cards. What am I doing? Oh God, it's taking so long. There's just something else that was in here that I wanted to talk about a little bit. It's the mirror, I guess. And who are you seeing in the mirror? And I feel like it's kind of going back to what I was saying yesterday with the way that we sort of um, confront the people that we find challenging because they believe in other things, and both sets of people can't relate to what the other one wholeheartedly believes in. And I was saying that we call them stupid and things like that, and that they're dumb and make bad decisions and all of that, and are, doing things against their own best interest. But in the way that this mirror that they're talking about, that you can see yourself and see the real you, if your perception is open to it, but also you can allow other people to get a glimpse of themselves. And so it kind of skips over the part that I was talking about, where like you're just talking a bunch of crap about people, and blaming them and making it like that they did something wrong for what they believe. But I mean, really hold up the mirror to yourself, because are you not doing the same thing? Are you not being as rigid and kind of unfeeling, and that you don't want to give an inch to what you don't like agree with? And that doesn't make your position, if it's sort of uh, the opposing position, it doesn't. I don't think it's a good look. So then I pulled another card, and I got two, because I just ended up with two. So I got the bear, which I've recently got, but it's this bear. It just looks very cute today, and it looks like it's not gonna get angry and like maul you. And I think that's a deceptive uh, perception, because even if they really like you, we don't know what could just make them go flip the switch, and it does happen. So I guess it's that it looks cute and you want to get up close to it, but once you do that, you might find that it just is gonna maul you. It's gonna maul you, and if it's gotten to the state of mauling, it's too late for you. It's all over for you. So use caution. There's plenty of light. You can see the bear. That triangle actually indicates the species in the series of the cards, because it's in four different. There's four different symbols to represent air, water, land, and sky, or land, water, sky, and what else? I think there's four of them. Great. Maybe take even longer. Oh, well, there's actually five. So, here we go. There is earth, water, what's this? Oh, fire. Earth, air, fire, and water. And then also there is a category called spirit that also has a symbol. But yeah, this is an earth guy. And so, what was I saying? Anyway, the symbol is for earth. But it's pointing down and it's illuminating the bear. So I almost feel like the yellow is all sunny and deceptive, like the way the bear is deceptively cute. But there's a dark side, don't forget. Like the sun may be momentarily eclipsing it, but don't forget you are still dealing with a powerful beast. And I feel like that is those among us that are from like sort of the Trump Republican side of the aisle of thinking, where they have their convictions and they feel like they're under attack, and they feel like everything they've ever known is under attack, and it's destabilizing. I totally get it. It's not my experience, but I understand that they're having it. You can't like take away what someone is feeling, and they can tell you as best they can, but I don't think words are enough to like get to what the actual core of what you're feeling is, especially if you're trying to translate the feeling from yourself and then convey the meaning there to someone else that's going to then put it through their filter. It's like it gets confusing. So the other card I pulled was the shark. No, when I saw this, because of the recent shark videos, there's a lot of them out there. There's ones where they're attacking the boats and trying to knock people, like capsize them. And then there's other ones where they're either leading people in boats to some animal that's injured by like a fishing net, or some other way that they need help, like it's their baby or something. Like they're not. It's like a more benevolent thing, where the ones like intimidating the boaters seems kind of negative. But the thing about the sharks is, if you've been on a boat and then all of a sudden there's a shark there, it's kind of well, it'll scare the crap out of you because, well, at least when it happened to me, I was on a whale watching trip and looking at the water, and it's not like in the Caribbean, and we were out pretty far. We were probably halfway to Catalina from Los Angeles, so it gets pretty deep there, so it's dark. The water's dark. And I'm just sort of looking at the water, and there's not much happening at that point. Like, we'd seen some whales on the trip. But at that point, nothing was happening. So I was standing, like, on the side of the boat, looking over into the water and just spacing out. And then all of a sudden, out of the darkness, the shark appeared, and it was beautiful. But it scared me. Even though I'm like up on the boat, I'm very conscious of the fact that we're out in this water where, if there's a shark out there that's hungry, the shark's going to be a better swimmer. I'm not going to, make it somewhere else. And I don't know why I like scared myself right off the boat and into the water, but it was kind of like the way the shark came rushing up, and then it looked at me. Well, I guess it looked at me. Its eyes looked like it was looking at me. And I felt in danger. So that was intense. What it signifies about now, though, is, I don't know. They come from the deep. And, they're ancient, and they're some of the best predators on Earth, but they also choose to not eat you a lot of times, and not all sharks want to eat humans. So I'm not sure why. I have some ideas, but I'm not going to expand any further on that. But those were my thoughts on the shark before I read the book. So the book says, shark, directness, exposure, revealing true nature and desire. The shark is only dangerous when we don't acknowledge it. This card indicates that something big needs to be exposed. It's lurking in the depths and creating tension. It's lurking It's lurking in the depths and creating tension. Shark energy takes over us when we are hesitant to be honest, to be totally ourselves, or to say what we really want. It may be tempting to continue pretending nothing is wrong, but when shark energy is at play, we feel its presence encircling us. When in balance, intriguing, captivating, mysterious. When out of balance, sneaky, destructive. To bring into balance, honesty. I laughed uh, and paused when it said the shark uh, directness, exposure, revealing true nature and essence. Well, I mean, this shark, what I just described, came up, and when it looked at me, it was very direct. It exposed and revealed its true nature to me, that it wanted me to fall into that water so I could eat it. When I looked at it and I feel like we made eye contact, I feel like that's what that guy was saying to me. Like, come here, you look tasty. I would like to take a little bite out of you. And I'm like, no. So, what does that signify? I feel like the shark personality that I'm getting is one that's going to be want to cut through BS, not going to want to hear it anymore, wants to hear the straight dope right now. And I feel like, especially after the news report that I talked about earlier that I'm going to link, I feel pretty sharky about that. Like, I want to get to the bottom of that, and that situation cannot continue. There's no point in having the Supreme Court if they're just going to do what the religious right wants, and they're just so blatant about it, and they don't even care. They're like, we're in control and you can't do anything, and that right there is going to have to change. So now I've been talking a super long time and I'm done. Anything else? Thank you and good night.